The scandal in Norway's royal family continues. The eldest son of Crown Princess Mette-Marit has been arrested and now faces jail time. Marius attacked a woman in her apartment while under the influence of illegal substances. The whole country is in shock. But Crown Prince Haakon's patience has run out, and he decided to take action against his stepson. The family made a tough decision. What's next for the black sheep of the royal family? How did this difficult family drama unfold? I'll tell you all about it in this video. 24 years ago, Crown Prince Haakon announced his engagement to single mother Mette-Marit, and everyone was shocked. She wasn't just a commoner, she also had a dark past. She didn't have much education, she loved partying in her youth, and she had a son with a man who had a criminal record. For Norway, this was a scandal. Mette-Marit had worked as a waitress and was known for her wild lifestyle in the 90s. She had attended parties and lived in a place where drugs were readily available. On top of that, her 4-year-old son, Marius, was born from a previous relationship. Her father's controversial marriage to a much younger woman who had been a stripper only made things worse. When Haakon announced his engagement in 2000, many people thought this could end the monarchy. Some admired him for following his heart, but others believed a future king should set a good example. Many even said he should give up the throne if he wanted to marry her. The couple faced even more criticism when they decided to live together before marriage. This was the first time a future king had ever done this in Norway, breaking royal traditions and shocking the public. The media made things worse. They dug into Mette-Marit's life, looking for anything they could use against her. Every week, newspapers were full of gossip about her past. The constant pressure nearly tore the couple apart. Haakon later said he even considered giving up the throne to protect her. There were also concerns about their future family. Mette-Marit's children with Haakon would be royal and could inherit the throne, but Marius would not. He wouldn't have the same status and would grow up in the shadow of his royal siblings. Finally, in August 2001, Mette-Marit and Haakon decided to face the public. She apologized for her past, admitted her mistakes, and thanked Haakon for standing by her. "My youth rebellion was much stronger than many others. That resulted in me living quite a wild life," Mette-Marit told the media. "We overstepped the limits. It was a costly experience for me that I took a long time to get over. I would like to take this opportunity to say that I condemn drugs. I cannot make these choices again, even though I would wish I could." Many people were touched by her honesty and eventually took her side. Their love story felt like a modern fairy tale. The prince married a simple woman with a troubled past, giving her a chance to become a real princess. After their wedding, Mette-Marit proved to be a devoted wife and mother. She and Haakon had 2 children together, Princess Ingrid Alexandra and Prince Sverre Magnus. Their daughter, Ingrid Alexandra, became second in line to the throne and is expected to be Norway's queen one day. As Crown Princess, Mette-Marit embraced her new role beautifully. She accompanied Prince Haakon to official events and dedicated herself to charity work. She always appeared modest and graceful. People seemed to forget her past over time, but her son from her previous relationship, Marius, remained a subject of public interest. The love story of Crown Prince Haakon and Princess Mette-Marit could have been a perfect fairy tale without one complication. As Marius grew older, he began causing more trouble for his family. His name often appeared in newspapers linked to scandals. Marius had a rebellious nature, which his background might have influenced. His father, Morten Borg, had a criminal record and a bad reputation. He was convicted of purchasing illegal substances and sentenced in 1991. Mette-Marit met him long before she crossed paths with the prince. They never had a serious relationship. It was a brief fling that unexpectedly led to pregnancy. By the way, Marius's grandfather, Sven O. Høiby, was also a convicted felon. Their son, Marius Borg Høiby, was born in Oslo in 1997. And when Mette-Marit met her future husband, the Crown Prince of Norway, Marius was just 2 years old. He always looked like an angel. Could such a sweet child really cause any trouble? Crown Prince Haakon welcomed the boy into his family as if he were his own and always treated him kindly. Mette-Marit says of Marius, "Marius became a symbol of the unusual choice we made when we got married. He will not have a public role and is not a public figure." Marius never received any royal titles and had no claim to the throne. Despite this, he lived with his mother in the royal palace, attended all family events, and was given as much love and attention as her other children. A few years after the wedding of the Crown Prince and Princess, 87-year-old King Harald decided to officially recognize his step-grandson, Marius Borg Høiby, as a member of the royal family. However, Borg Høiby kept his civilian surname and never received a title or a place in the line of succession. The situation could have been different had Crown Prince Haakon adopted his stepson. However, it is said this was never considered an issue because the 51-year-old prince didn't want to come between Marius and his biological father. Marius and Morten Borg have always maintained a very good relationship. Even though Morten Borg was never married to Mette-Marit, he took on the role of a father. Even after she married the prince, he visited his son every weekend and spent time with him. However, Borg could not pay child support, so Mette-Marit received financial assistance from the state for a long time. Borg was allowed access to the Norwegian royal family and could always contact them to discuss Marius's life. It's safe to say that Marius's father was a man who struggled to find stability in life, as he couldn't support his son financially. In addition, his criminal past and being such a father figure likely negatively influenced Marius. It's not surprising that Marius began to follow in his father's footsteps in many ways as he grew older. Throughout his childhood, Marius essentially lived between two families. His father, Morten Borg, married entrepreneur Celine Maktabi in 2004. The couple had 2 sons together. Marius had a good relationship with his half-brothers, and his father's new wife considered him her 3rd son. Despite the love and support from both families, Marius grew up with a difficult personality, which became more apparent as he got older. Perhaps because of this, his mother, Princess Mette-Marit, always tried to shield him from public attention. She often emphasized that her son disliked being in the spotlight. She also strongly criticized journalists who wrote detailed stories about Marius and reported on his life. She understood that the influence of the press could negatively affect a teenager. When Marius turned 20, the Norwegian royal family announced that he was heading to an unspecified college in the United States to continue his studies. However, they clarified that he would remain part of the family. Mette-Marit asked the press to leave her son alone and did everything she could to protect his privacy. Perhaps this is why she sent him to study far away in another country. However, Marius, whether due to his rebellious nature or simply to defy his mother, still managed to attract attention. For example, during his time in the United States, he frequently posted photos on social media, which only fueled public interest in him. An interesting fact, when Marius was 21, he occasionally considered himself a prince. During his internship as an editor at a fashion magazine, he reportedly called himself a prince several times. Of course, this was entirely untrue, as he never held any royal titles and was always a commoner. However, this might hint at his desire to feel more connected to the royal family and belong to society's upper echelons. It could also suggest that Marius had a strong sense of self-importance and a craving for attention. Since becoming an adult, Marius has been involved in several more scandals. In 2016, he was criticized for selling luxury items online. He used the royal residence as his address, which many saw as misusing his connection to the royal family. In 2023 and 2024, reports showed Marius posting videos of reckless driving and heavy partying. He was often seen with wealthy heirs, reality stars, and people with criminal records. Experts called him a security risk because of his ties to the royal family and his home near their residence. It must be said that Marius may have always felt like a second-class family member because he was never granted any royal titles, while his younger brother and sister, the prince and princess, are seen as exemplary children with spotless reputations. Marius earned the label of the royal family's black sheep early on. He dropped out of college in the United States and had his first encounter with the police at the age of 20. In 2017, he was fined for the first time for using illegal substances at a music festival. Later, Marius admitted that he struggled with addiction for many years. This often led to serious consequences and cast a shadow on the royal family's reputation. On August 4, 2024, a major scandal erupted in Norway. 27-year-old Marius was accused of assaulting his girlfriend in her apartment. Marius spent over 30 hours in police custody before being released. According to reports, he allegedly attacked the young woman, who's in her 20s, both psychologically and physically. She was reportedly taken to the hospital, where she was diagnosed with a concussion. In addition, Marius trashed her apartment and caused significant damage to her belongings. Later, 27-year-old Marius Høiby addressed the allegations against him in a statement shared through the state broadcaster NRK. In his message, he admitted to assaulting a woman he described as his girlfriend and to causing extensive damage to her apartment in Oslo's prestigious Frogner district during the early hours of August 4th. He also acknowledged that the incident happened while he was under the influence of alcohol and illegal substances. He has not formally pleaded guilty to the charges, as the police have not yet questioned him, his defense attorney stated in a message to NRK. However, in practice, this serves as an admission of the accusations brought against him. Marius made a shocking confession. He said, "Last weekend something happened that should never have happened. I committed bodily harm and destroyed objects in an apartment in the intoxication of alcohol and after an argument. I have several mental disorders, which mean that throughout my upbringing and adult life I have had and still have challenges. I have struggled with substance abuse for a long time, something I have been in treatment for in the past. I will now resume this treatment and take it very seriously," Marius continued. "The drug use and my diagnosis do not excuse what happened in the apartment at Frogner on the night of Sunday last weekend. I want to be responsible for what I have done and will explain myself truthfully to the police. For me, the most important thing is to say sorry to my girlfriend. She deserved neither what happened that night nor the extreme pressure from both the Norwegian and foreign press afterwards. Being pursued by photographers and journalists at a time like this, I know, has been tough to stand in." He declined to give an interview or answer any questions. The royal family faced a difficult period following the incident, along with the victim, whose identity was not disclosed publicly. However, photos of the victim's damaged apartment were published by the magazine Se og Hør. The images showed extensive destruction, including a chandelier torn from the bedroom ceiling, shattered glass and mirror fragments, broken sunglasses and an iPhone, and even a knife embedded in the wall. It remains unclear who leaked the photos to the magazine, which faced criticism from the victim's lawyer for making them public. Se og Hør reported that the victim had a relationship with Marius and got him out of her home before calling a friend for help. The friend arrived, witnessed the aftermath of the violence, and contacted the police. Officers quickly secured technical evidence and briefly interviewed the injured woman before she was taken to a local emergency hospital. She reportedly stayed there for several hours under observation, with visible head injuries and signs of a concussion. After the charges against Marius became public, two of his ex-girlfriends accused him of psychological and physical violence. Norwegian media reported that Marius called his victim after returning to the house he used on the royal estate. During the call, he allegedly threatened her again. Police reportedly have a recording of the call where he threatened to burn her clothes and other belongings she had left at his place. The police involved the state intelligence service responsible for protecting the royal couple. However, they declined to comment. Marius was taken to Oslo's main police station. There, he was fingerprinted, photographed and tested for DNA and drugs, as is standard for all suspects. He spent the night in a basic holding cell with minimal amenities. He was released the following Monday afternoon. The incident led Marius's mother, Crown Princess Mette-Marit, to cancel her plans to attend the Summer Olympics with Crown Prince Haakon. She joined him later, but refused to answer any questions about what happened. The story received extensive media coverage in Norway. This was unusual, as the Norwegian press typically avoids reporting on royal scandals or identifying crime suspects unless they are convicted. In this case, media outlets felt it was necessary to cover the incident because Marius is connected to the royal family and still resides on the Skaugum estate. After the recent scandal, the Norwegian royal family made a tough decision. Marius was banned from accessing the royal palace. He is no longer allowed to visit the main residence of his mother, Crown Princess Mette-Marit, and his stepfather, Crown Prince Haakon, at Skaugum. According to Norwegian media, 27-year-old Marius lost access to both the main house and the secured areas of the Skaugum estate. This decision was made to protect the royal family's reputation after the incident. Marius is now said to live in a small house at the edge of the forest near Skaugum in Asker. While still on royal property, this house is far from the main residence. This was a necessary but difficult step for the royal family. They want to maintain peace within the family and show the public that actions damaging to the monarchy's image will not go unaddressed. Marius, who has always been a private citizen without a royal title, is now separated from his family. It is unclear if he will continue to live near Skaugum or move elsewhere. Crown Prince Haakon and Crown Princess Mette-Marit likely decided to ban Marius from the royal palace, possibly with input from King Harald. King Harald may have been consulted as the royal family's head, but the final decision would rest with Haakon, the current head of the Skaugum estate and future king. Being banned from the palace is a significant step and can be seen as a form of punishment. Marius has always wanted to feel included in the royal family. Despite being a private citizen without a royal title, he grew up surrounded by royal life. His childhood at the palace and his attendance at royal events gave him a sense of belonging. However, his actions have distanced him from that world. This decision doesn't mean the royal family has completely disowned Marius. He remains a part of the family, but his privileges have been restricted. Losing access to the palace and the secured parts of the estate clearly means that his behavior has consequences. This punishment may feel particularly harsh for someone like Marius, who reportedly referred to himself as a prince despite having no title. It symbolized losing his connection to the royal family and the lifestyle he appears to cherish. By living away from the palace and royal events, Marius is now further removed from the family he once called his own. After the scandal that rocked the Norwegian royal family, Marius Høiby has largely kept out of the public eye. He is believed to reside in a private home and no longer lives at the royal estate in Skaugum. Reports suggest that he has distanced himself from both the royal family and public life, but his exact whereabouts remain unconfirmed. The legal case against him is still ongoing. Marius faces serious charges, including assault and property damage stemming from the violent incident with his former girlfriend. If convicted, he could face prison time. Legal experts have noted that the Norwegian judicial system will likely consider his lack of prior convictions and cooperation with authorities when determining a sentence. However, the severity of the charges and the evidence, including the alleged phone threats, could weigh heavily against him. The situation has left Marius in a precarious position. While he has always been considered a private citizen, his connection to the royal family complicates matters. The intense media coverage and public scrutiny have made it difficult for him to move forward quietly. In addition to facing legal consequences, Marius is expected to undergo serious rehabilitation for his substance abuse issues in the near future. His struggles with addiction have been a recurring problem, and this step is seen as crucial for his recovery and rebuilding his life. Marius reportedly focuses on staying out of the spotlight while his legal team prepares for the upcoming proceedings. His future remains uncertain, but the case has already had a lasting impact on his life and the reputation of the Norwegian royal family. Whether he can rebuild his life after this scandal remains to be seen. The story of Marius shows that being connected to a royal family comes with great responsibility. Despite his privileged upbringing, his actions seriously affected himself and the monarchy's reputation. This case reminds us that even those born into wealth and status must face accountability for their choices. What do you think is the root of Marius's problems? His bad genetics or poor upbringing? Share in the comments, like the video and subscribe to the channel. Thanks for watching.